What up, YouTube? Got a haircut. You like it? Of course you don't. You don't care. Anyways, Echo Grande representing here, and of course I'm going to be reviewing the latest Game of Thrones episode. Anyways, we get the first cold opening of this show as you see Ian McShane's character finally pop up, my boy, in the fray, and he's getting some people to hustle up and they're building some sort of tower. You've got your average Joes, breadwinners, hard laborers, the Hound, hard workers. Wait, what? Backbreakers, hard laborers, the Hound. Sandor Clegane in the flesh. I mean, come on, the episode is called The Broken Man. Of course we were gonna see. Oh, whoa, let's back up a bit. Easy on the expectations. Steve, watch that cut-in editing. Ian McShane's character and the Hound talk for a little bit about the many gods that exist in the Game of Thrones universe. The Hound actually starts to question his morality and why he isn't being punished. Ian's character says otherwise. Yes, I'm so excited. The episode is called The Broken Man, so we're probably gonna see a lot more of the Hound in this episode. The Hound goes to watch the bird. Nope, never mind, we're in King's Landing now. The Sparrow comes in and questions Margaery why she hasn't banged Tommen since their little alliance, since it is her duty to produce an heir, and criticizes Margaery for not asking her grandmother, the Queen of Thorns, why she hasn't repented her sins. Why? Are we in Groundhog Day right now? Has recycling not only taken over our society, but our television shows as well? Are we really going to be using this confess your sins conflict for every single character that lives in King's Landing? But thankfully my anger is subdued when it turns out Margaery is not as submissive as we expected. When she gets into a little one-on-one with Olenna and slips a little piece of paper to her. Olenna looks at it, recognizes her house sigil, and it turns out Margaery is just being an infiltrator? Olenna's face of satisfaction is really the only thing that can confirm that for me. Up in the north, Jon, Davos, and Sansa are visiting the wildlings that he let get past the wall. They disagree with assisting Jon in helping take back Winterfell, until Tormund Giantsbane speaks up and talks about how the Crows killed Jon for helping the Free Folk, and criticizes them that they're not, if he's willing to die for them, but they're not willing to die for him. One the Giant is the first to agree, and then everybody follows through. 5-something scenes with nothing but dialogue between Jon and Sansa in this season so far. Oh, but if you think that's the last that we're gonna see of those scenes in this episode, you are horribly mistaken. This bastard bowl better be worth the hype. Back in King's Landing, Cersei powwows with Olenna about how they need to get along against their war for the Faith Militant. Olenna finally gets catty again with Cersei when she reminds her how Cersei threw her grandkids in jail. Chastises her for having no support, even the support of her own family, and pretty much reminds her of how much of a loser she is. I don't think I've ever pictured flames shooting out of Cersei's eyes and each strand of her hair turning into snakes. But I did when I saw that death glare she gave her when Olenna called her a loser. I'm really not used to finding Lena Headey unattractive, to be honest. In the Riverlands, Jaime and approach the castle where the Blackfish is held up. Bronn criticizes the army's attempt at a siege, and things just get uglier when the Freys threaten to cut Edmure Tully's throat if the Blackfish doesn't show himself. The Blackfish does show up, and for as awesome as he is and how cold he is, he actually calls out their bluff. They take Edmure Tully away, still alive. Jaime takes control and has Bronn boss everybody around to make the siege looking more like a siege. Hey, it's not the most exciting scene Bronn gets to be a part of, but at least it's not. No, I need some rum. Jaime requests a parley with the Blackfish, which Bronn says he's doomed for. Back to Jon and Sansa, where they're visiting the Mormonts on Bear Island, where they break bread with the next line of succession, Lyanna, a much younger ruler. Granted, I have to admit, for a minor character, her acting is awesome. Jon makes his request to have them help him fight and take Winterfell back from the Boltons, but the ignorant Lyanna declines because all she knows is that Sansa married both a Lannister and Ramsay Bolton. Davos plays a game that I like to call Davos kisses ass to win everybody over, as he praises Jon's rule exactly like he did with Stannis at the Iron Bank, and warns Lady Mormont of the March of the White Walkers on the south part of Westeros. Lyanna agrees to assist and offers 62 men. Davos and Jon look at each other like, meh, meh. Back to the Riverlands as Jaime and the Blackfish have their little parley. Blackfish insults the Kingslayer as he claims that he and his men can hold up in the castle for 2 years. Jaime is a bit stunned, but the determination glows brighter and the siege continues. Back to the Hound as he is walking. No, wait, slow down. We still got more soliciting from Jon and Sansa when they visit House Glover. Of course, like everybody else, they say no. Jon and Sansa try to win them over. Sansa reminds them of their loyalty to House Stark, but Lord Glover is still so butthurt about the Red Wedding and the Greyjoy invasion and denies their offer for good. Finally, more Hound action as Yara makes out with and spanks a girl in front of dickless Theon. That's the scene. Sure, Yara does a little convincing and tries to break Theon out of his reek mentality, but that's it. The Hound discusses his complex relationship with his brother, with Ian McShane's character as oh, I'm so sorry. I had a little expectation hiccup there. Instead, more Jon and Sansa action as they argue over how many men they have, and Sansa ends up writing a very ambiguous letter, and it's never revealed who she's writing to. The Hound sits and listens to Ian McShane's character, the Septon, preach about how he became a man of faith. A lot of depth for a minor character, how he killed a little boy in front of his mother, he can still hear the mother screaming her little boy's name. 3 very mysterious characters come to visit them. Pretty antagonistically, actually. The Hound looks pretty nervous when he sees them come, even though these are characters that we haven't seen yet. But one of them says the night is dark and full of terrors, and the Hound reveals to the Septon that they are the Brotherhood without banners. The Hound, with his very enticing intellect, warns the Septon how they may come back, steal their supplies, and kill them all. But the Septon gets all John Locke from Lost on us and says no harm will come to them. Arya is sporting the Ned Stark hairdo as she roams through Braavos. She finds a Westerosi and buys passage onto his boat. She continues to roam the streets until she is approached by a sweet, old, innocent old lady. It's the wife in disguise. She messes up Arya quite a bit, stabs her in the gut a few times, and I could have sworn I saw her cut her throat, but I guess it was just a slash across the stomach. Quite a bit more than I expected. Wasn't really much of a fight at all. But Arya escapes. She falls into the river and gets back into the markets. But looking like a dead bulb on a neon sign. Bleeding everywhere, clothes soaked in blood and water, not to mention the dripping. Last we see of her is her roaming through the streets searching for aid, I can only assume. I know this is Game of Thrones, Valar Morghulis, all men must die and crap, but come on. I have no real words for this except relax, take a deep breath. We didn't see the Hound die, and now look where he is now. Speaking of the Hound, we cut back to him. He's chopping wood and hears screams in the distance. He comes to find his whole troop dead and the Septon hanging from the tower that they had just built. He turns, grabs an axe, and charges off like the mad dog he is. Sandor Clegane is out for blood. Oh, that's sweet, sweet hype. Too long didn't watch version! Again, stuff happened. We got Jon back, we got the Hound back. It's the season that keeps on giving. Not talking about Christmas, of course. Anyways, this season is clearly getting us jacked up for things. Just wish they had better ways to get us hyped for them. The Hound's got no way to go but forward. Maybe he'll end up fighting in the Riverlands, or he'll go back to his family's house if he has one, or maybe he'll somehow end up in King's Landing. That's it, Steve, you're fired. Get out. What are you still doing on Adobe? Stop editing this video. You want something done right, you gotta do it yourself. I'm just kidding, I've been editing these videos this whole time. Anyway, another great episode. The buzz from Jon's resurrection is kind of toned down, I'll admit. Apparently I had too high an expectation for his resurrection. One little hole that I will point out is, where is Melisandre? Did they leave her at Castle Black? Arya is facing death, literally, for I think the first time in this show. Seems like her courage, bravery, and cold-heartedness just flies out the window when she's pitted against death. It seems only the many-faced god can tell us how this journey will end for her. I'll admit though, if she dies, I'm done. There's no way they're gonna have her travel all the way to Essos, learn how to be a faceless man, drop out of being a faceless man, and then just to have her get killed by her getting her throat cut. I'll be sorely disappointed. And let's hope that fight between Blackfish and Jaime is well worth the 55 minutes that I sacrifice a week for this show. Hey, at least Bronn is back. If we didn't have Bronn, we wouldn't have Game of Thrones. You could say that about a lot of other people. Anyway, it was a pretty good episode. Lots of tension, lots of loose ends tying up or starting to tie up. Next week should call for some good shit. And I'll be there to review it for you all as always. This has been another Game of Thrones review. Thanks for watching, guys. My name is Matt, and I am signing out.